It's Blunt Talking YC, and we here with
Lordsko. What's going on? And we also here with a lot of other people. Here with my man Dusty Reynolds. Show him on the camera.
You know what I'm saying? Shit light. Yeah, I just copped the chopped cheese, but that shit was busting. So I put that shot the window.
We got Taco Bell on the way.
You got my man's the front.
Feel me?
You got my son.
In the little behind the scenes. White.
Lot of people. We got Big Pun behind me.
A lot of energy, you heard?
Facts. Yeah, man. How you feeling?
So who influenced you to start rapping? Like from an early age, who did you listen to?
So I mean, the first iPod I had like Biggie, DMX, Eminem, like some of the like, you know, just the like classic first people, like the most mainstream people, you know. And that was like my pop's gym playlist that I got on that shit when I was like real young. But yeah, when I really wanted to start taking rapping seriously, not gonna lie, one of the first like albums I listened to was 2014 Forest Hills Drive, the J. Cole shit. I fucked with Childish Gambino a lot. I fucked with like a lot of people, and then like once I really started making music, some of my biggest influences now is like Jadakiss, Nas, MF Doom, Big L, Sean Price, Joey Badass, Mac Miller. Yeah.
It's a long list, I ain't gonna lie.
It's a long list, man. It's cause I do my research, man. Every time.
Dusty. No.
Hey, Dusty.
So
every time I get asked that question, though, it's a long answer.
who influenced your art beside on your museum project?
Yeah.
Like where did you get that? Like you just holding a like I don't know. It was hard. But where'd you get the idea from?
So I got that shit. You sounded a little skeptical on that, man. Not gonna lie, that was the best cover of the year last year. Quote me on that. But I did had that idea. Just it kind of popped in my head before I even made like a single song for the project. And then I just kind of wanted something that caught the eye. wasn't a super typical looking just regular album cover, but it still had like an appeal to just be a very iconic type of picture, and I kind of wanted the message of that to be something that people interpreted in whatever way they wanted. That's why I'm holding the painting, because it kind of shows like you get to control where your art goes and shit. Obviously, it's a white background, and I got a couple small things with me over there that, kind of represent different sides of me and shit. But shout out to Lord NMF who did the painting, and Curvin's Photography who did the who took the photos for that project.
When you go to the studio, do you freestyle or do you do punch-ins?
I don't do either, bro. I go in with a whole verse written, man. I don't do none of that freestyle shit. The people who do that, man, I tip my hat, because that's mad impressive to me. But I like to take my time. I write a whole verse. Yeah, I mean, I fuck with the freestyle sometimes, but like the main engineer I work with is also my producer, so most of the joints I got is beats from him anyway, so I'll just go home, take those home, write to them. Sometimes I'll get to the studio, hear a beat, and write to it in the studio, but it's rare that I'll get in front of the mic without having something written.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years if you continue to take this rap shit seriously?
I mean, when is the right phrasing of that shit, because I've been taking this shit seriously since I was like 12 years old, so I'm gonna continue to do that shit. So, I think the possibilities is limitless, I don't even think it even needs to be pertained to the rap world, man. I'm gonna be in fucking movies and shit, like gangster like. But, I just, honestly, like, I wanna be in a place where, like, I'm very just comfortable with my place in the game. I feel like I'm respected by my peers and by people I looked up to. That's one of the main things, But I know that's gonna happen. I just gotta trust the path for more, because it's been doing well for me so far.
Where did you get your name from? Like, who inspired your name?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Because my last name is actually Fersko, Fersko. So I had a friend who called me Sko, and I thought that shit was cool. And then I know a bunch of people had taken shit like their last name and stuff like that, like Kid Cudi did. Magic Cudi, you know what I mean? And then Lord is just like some ill New York slang. There was actually like some fucking junkie in my neighborhood who kind of passed away, but he used to fucking be like calling me the Lord of the Rings and shit, which I always thought was funny. But, you know, I just think it's some ill shit, and then you always be like, yo, what up, Lord, 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 Lord. You know, it's cool. Sounds dope.
You got any EPs on the way? Any mixtapes? Anything we should be looking forward to?
Oh yeah, man. I got a lot of shit that's coming out real soon. I'm gonna hear a couple projects this year. If you haven't heard my project from last year, I'll definitely say tune in. And yeah.
As a kid, right? Was your life easy? Or was it hard? Because, you know, some people, they have easy lives, but they choose to make their, you know, their life hard, so.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was easy or hard. Like, you know, like I had a good amount of friends. Like, and I'm never gonna be the type of person to be like, yo, I went hungry at night. Like, my mom's put food on the table and shit, but it wasn't ever like a thing of like we had like extra money for too much stuff, you know, like pretty middle class shit. And you know, like that was what it was. You know, I just went to California last month, and that was
How was that?
That was dope. That was my first time leaving like the Northeast, though. You know what I mean? Like, and that shit was dope. That was real eye opening for me. You know, like pretty much what happened with me was like, you know, my mom's obviously put a roof over our head and food, and you know, Christmas was fine. You know, it wasn't like we was coming up short or nothing. But if I wanted to get my own shit, I had to come up with my own money. You know what I mean? So I was doing shit. I was selling tabs. I was doing shit, selling weed, whatever, just to get some chips up and, you know, make money off music. Same thing, you know. You know, I gotta buy my own drip. I gotta buy all this own shit. But that's not a struggle. That's just the reality of life, you know. So.
You know, this is a weed channel, so I'm gonna ask you, what's the most you ever paid for an eighth?
Damn. I'm gonna be real. You mean on like my own or like with cause like
Nah, like your own.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna say on my own, probably the most I ever paid was 60 because I feel like paying 80 out of my own pocket for
It's ridiculous.
is retarded. But I think I've probably gone like 40-40 with a homie on like some like crystal fucking resin ass weed eighth. I wouldn't put it past myself. I've paid stupid amounts of money for weed. It's more so the accumulation, you know what I mean? If you added up every dollar I've ever spent on weed in my life, like, you could probably be a very stable man with your money.
When you make it in this rapping shit, do you want to stay in your city or do you want to leave out? Because most artists who stay in their city, they tend to, for me, like, bad stuff can happen.
Yeah, no,
a lot of people get jealous.
Right. Honestly, that's a great question, bro, and I think about that a lot, because I do kind of want to stay in my city, you know what I mean? Like, especially I love to stay in like my neighborhood. My sister, yo, read the blood. Fucking, nah, but yeah, I love this city, man. This shit is what inspires me, you know what I mean? Like, I get a lot of my inspiration from my music just from living in the city and the experiences I get in the city. So, I mean, I thought about it and shit. I definitely, you know, like I think one of my main goals with this music shit is to be able to buy a crib in New York, buy a little apartment in New York, not worry about the rent and shit. Like to be that financially stable. But obviously, like, you know, I wouldn't mind maybe living in Cali 2 months of the year, going to make an album out there, you know, some shit like that. Like
some calm shit.
Right, yeah. I don't wanna live in New York 12 months of the year once I'm at that type of level, but I'd love for this to be my home going forward, you know what I mean? And I think, obviously I'm a recognizable dude, but like at the end of the day, I don't really want to be Drake with my music. Like, I want to be big, I want to be respected in my lane, and I want to be stable off that shit and respected mainly. Like, that's the main shit I do it for, is respect for my peers and my idols and shit like that. So, you know, it would be dope to be able to walk down the block and have people be like, oh, you that ill fucking rapper dude. And obviously, it's not always like that, you know. Someone might be like, "Oh, you that old rapper dude? Run your fucking chain," you know. But I think there's solutions to that. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about that quite yet, but you know, we'll see how it goes, man.
Where? Cause a lot of people, me personally, I don't want to stay here. When I get big, I don't want to stay here.
No, I respect that, man, and I think it makes sense and I understand it, but you gotta always come back here regardless, man, because this is the mecca of where shit is happening at. You know what I mean? It don't fucking matter. Jay-Z still gotta come back here.
Word.
You know what I mean?
It's New York at the end of the day.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's hard to completely get away from Yeah.